Ancient Egypt is often seen as a civilization of stone and sand. But beneath the monuments and pyramids existed something far more powerful: knowledge. Knowledge that allowed them to build structures aligned with the stars. Knowledge that helped them preserve bodies for thousands of years. Knowledge that shaped a society capable of lasting longer than most empires in history. And yet, much of this knowledge is now lost. Not destroyed. Lost. Buried beneath time, language, and forgotten meaning. Many Egyptian writings remain undeciphered. Symbols appear repeatedly across temples and tombs. Patterns that seem intentional. Messages that appear structured. But their full meaning is still debated. Some historians believe these symbols were not only religious. They may have recorded systems of thought, understanding of life, death, and the human mind. Priests were the keepers of this knowledge. They studied the stars. They observed nature. They recorded cycles of flooding, harvest, and seasons. But they also studied something deeper: the relationship between the physical world and the spiritual one. Temples were not only places of worship, they were centers of learning, places where knowledge was preserved and passed down carefully. Only a few had access. Only a few were allowed to learn, because knowledge meant power, and power had to be protected. The Egyptians believed understanding the universe brought them closer to the divine. They did not separate science and faith. To them, both were connected. The movement of the sun, the flow of the Nile, the rhythm of the seasons, everything followed patterns. And those patterns could be studied, predicted, understood. Modern researchers continue to examine Egyptian structures. Some discoveries remain difficult to explain. Perfect alignments, mathematical precision, engineering solutions far ahead of their time. This does not mean Egyptians possessed modern technology, but it does suggest deep observation. Generations studying the same systems, passing knowledge forward carefully, without interruption. And over centuries, this knowledge expanded. But then something changed. Empires rose and fell. Languages shifted. Invaders came. Records were damaged. Priesthoods disappeared. And slowly, pieces of understanding faded. Today, archaeologists uncover fragments, broken tablets, partially preserved writings, temple walls worn by time. And each discovery offers a glimpse into what once existed. But never the full picture. Because Egypt did not leave everything visible. Some chambers remain sealed. Some tombs remain unopened. Some structures lie beneath sand, untouched. And with every discovery, the same realization appears. We do not fully understand ancient Egypt. We see the surface. But the deeper systems remain hidden, waiting, silent, unchanged, and perhaps never meant to be fully revealed. For centuries, people believed ancient Egypt had already revealed all its secrets. The pyramids stood in plain sight. Temples were studied. Tombs were opened. And it seemed that history had been uncovered. But modern technology changed everything. Researchers began using scanning tools instead of excavation, thermal imaging, ground-penetrating radar, 3D mapping. And what they found was unexpected. Hidden spaces inside pyramids, voids behind walls, corridors leading nowhere, structures beneath structures, places no human had entered for thousands of years. Some chambers were discovered above known passageways, others deep beneath temple foundations. Not marked, not recorded, not meant to be easily accessed. These discoveries raised new questions. Why build rooms with no visible entrance? Why seal entire pathways? Why create spaces that serve no obvious structural purpose? Some believe these were symbolic. Others believe they held sacred items. And some researchers think they may have protected knowledge. Because ancient Egypt did not reveal everything openly, certain information was restricted. Only priests, only rulers, only those initiated into sacred systems. Temples were designed in layers. Public spaces at the front, restricted spaces deeper inside, and the most sacred areas hidden completely. This pattern appears again and again across Egypt, which suggests intentional secrecy. Not everything was meant for everyone. Modern scans of the Great Pyramid revealed massive empty spaces, large enough to hold entire chambers. Yet no clear entrance has been found. No documented purpose exists. And that mystery continues. Some archaeologists believe new discoveries are still ahead. Entire tomb complexes remain buried. Cities beneath sand have yet to be mapped. areas untouched because excavation would risk damage. Egypt still holds secrets. Even today, even after centuries of study, each new generation uncovers another layer, another structure, another unanswered question. Because Egypt was not built only for the present, it was built for eternity. And eternity hides things well. Time covers them, sand protects them, silence keeps them hidden. But curiosity always returns. And slowly, piece by piece, the past begins to speak again. Mummification is one of the most recognizable practices of ancient Egypt, but it was not created to preserve appearance. It was created to protect the soul. Egyptians believed that life did not end with death. Instead, it continued in another realm, but only if the body remained intact, because the soul needed a physical form to return to. Without the body, the journey could not continue. This belief shaped one of the most complex preservation systems in human history. The process began immediately after death. Special priests took control. The body was carried into sacred chambers, not burial rooms, preparation rooms. The first step was removal of internal organs. Carefully, ritually, each organ placed into a separate container. The lungs, the liver, the stomach, the intestines, each protected, each considered essential. The brain was removed through the nose, not because it was unimportant, but because the heart was believed to hold consciousness, emotion, identity. The heart remained inside the body. It would later be judged in the afterlife. After removal, the body was dried, covered in natural salts, left for weeks. Moisture slowly removed, skin tightened, form preserved. Then came wrapping, layer after layer of cloth, each strip placed with precision, amulets inserted between folds, symbols for protection, prayers spoken during every step. Because this was not medical work, it was spiritual preparation. The final body was placed into a coffin, then another, sometimes several, layers of protection, layers of meaning. The goal was not beauty. It was survival, survival beyond death. Egyptians believed the afterlife was filled with challenges, trials, judgment, dark paths and unknown forces. The preserved body allowed the soul to recognize itself, to return, to continue. Not everyone received full mummification. It was expensive, reserved for the wealthy, for rulers, for those with status. Others received simpler methods. But the belief remained the same. Death was not the end, it was transition. And preparation determined what came next. Even today, scientists study mummies. They reveal age, disease, diet, injuries, moments frozen in time. These preserved bodies became historical records, stories written in flesh instead of stone, proof of a civilization obsessed not with death but with what comes after it. Because to ancient Egypt, life was temporary, but existence was eternal.